Hi, I'm the Novice Railway Modeller and welcome to what will become Sandale Model Railway. Now today we're going to be building on last week's video, which was about wiring these Peco points, and we're going to be laying these down, fixing them into position and fitting the Cobalt IP point motors. But before I do that, as it's a cold day here in February in Yorkshire, I'm having a cup of Yorkshire tea. Now, if you've not tried this, it's the best tea in the world. Now, just before shooting, I've actually put the first left point curve turnout in. It's not fixed down yet, but that's exactly where I want the last point to be. And what I've done from there, I've managed to draw the angle of the track that will follow its way around out of the fiddle yard when it's in position. So that's exactly where the track needs to go and where the next set of points are. And as you can see, I've started to drill where the next set of points go. And what I'm going to do now is allow you to follow me on the journey of putting all this into position. So let's get cracking. So as you know, what I said in the last video was I thought I'd soldered the wrong coloured wires, but in truth I've gone back now to look at the research that I did. I didn't write it down, that's what I should do, and in fact I did get it right, but I did get lots of tips on the video to say if you're going to wire your points, wire them rather than wire them coming from the outsides, wire them coming from the insides. So I am going to go back over what I've done. I'm just going to take off these wires, put the red and blacks back on, but wire them pointing towards the centre with one hole. So that's one done. Okay, so I've gone back in and I've retinned and tidied up the wires, and I've retinned and tidied up the solder points on the rails. I'm now going to go back in and refix these black and red wires, which I've recycled, back onto the rails, but making sure the wires will go through the board in the middle rather than on the outside. So black to the back here, and as you can see here, these two wires, whilst being separate, now come together in the middle, so I can just drill one hole through the baseboard. Now these are going in the fiddle yard, so I'm not so much worried about aesthetics, but I wanted to get into the swing of doing it the right way, so that's what I've done. Not the cleanest of solders, that's because I've messed around with them 3 times, to be honest. Okay, so we're now back to red and black wires from the blue and yellows that I did for the second time, originally from the black and reds in the first time. However, so you must think I'm mad. I probably am, but I've got a bit of OCD and I want to get into the swing of doing things the right way. So red and black on the points, and actually soldered from the outside to the inside with the wires coming through the middle of the joint, and therefore only one hole through the board. Again, it doesn't really matter too much for the fiddle yard from an aesthetic point of view because it won't be seen, but again, just trying to get into the swing of doing things in that way around. So thanks for bearing with me and thanks for all the tips. I know this is the first position of the first point, and which is going to go around there. So I've now, because I previously drilled these 2 holes, I'm now going to drill a hole exactly in the middle to take these 2 wires, take the red and black underneath. There's nothing underneath, it's nice and clear, so I'll take that out of the way. So there's that hole drilled for the red and black wires, and then it's an 8mm hole for the frog, for the point motor, sorry. Just hoover that up. feed the point in. So the green frog wire through a hole that I'd previously drilled. That's fine. And then the black and red cables through there. Pull those through. That's exactly where I wanted it. So we'll now put the second point exactly where we want it. Feed the frog cable in, and then red and black. Pull those through, nice and steady. Make sure the frog cable doesn't catch, and that fits in. Okay, so that's nicely in position. This is a good place here because this batten that runs underneath, we're okay for clearance at this side for the point motor, and there's enough gap here to allow the next point to come up to the short end here and without it having to catch. Okay, so we're just going to mark up where we want the holes to be. So we have a middle hole about there, and then the frog. So I'm not going to put that one in, I'm going to fix these in position first because they keep moving, so bear with me. So I'm going to temporarily put 2 tacks in either ends of these 3 rails, but just to hold it in the correct position. I'm going to just use the finger drill. Now I'll just tack those in. I'm not going to be leaving tacks in ongoing. I will copydex these points and tracks down, but just to hold it in position so I can get the best position for the next ones. Okay, so now I can put this third one in. This is fixed. This is fixed down, so it's not going to move. And whilst there's metal sleepers on here at the moment, just ignore that. I'm just doing it for positioning at this stage. Right, so I know that's definitely the line that we're going to come in at, which means now the difficulty of putting your cables together means that you can't actually go through and put your pen into the right hole, so you have to come from underneath, give it a rough mark, check it. Yep, that's okay. And then the same with the frog. So just get my head in underneath and have a look there. So I think that's in the right position. I'll remove that now. Sorry, what I should have done was to mark where the hole is going to go for the point motor. So again, make sure it's in the right position. And what I'm going to do this time is put the blade central sorry if you can't see it from the camera. I'll put the blade central and just put a pin in the hole. I'm just going to push that through so I know where that is, because there'll be a mark in the underlay just there. Whether your camera can pick it up, I don't know. So just make sure. This back into its position, pull those down again. Happy with that? Yep, great. So that's 3 points done. Now, probably due to excessive handling of this frog wire, it's just come off in my hand, so literally the wire has broken off. And I'm sure there's a fix to how to get that back on there, which will require some more soldering. But it would be good to hear from you guys, the YouTube community, about what you think I should do at this point in time. If you could let me know, that would be great. Now the 5th point is going to go here. So I'm just going to do the holes, drill the holes for those as well. So let's get them marked up first. That'll be the fun. So I think that's in the right position. We'll try again. Okay, let's drill the holes again. So that's for the arm of the point motor to poke through. So they're in position now. I've now marked the holes for this point with the point motor hole going there, the red and black wires going in here, and then the frog wire going in here, even though I broke the frog wire off this one. I do have a spare. Thankfully I bought 6 instead of 5, and I will wire the 6th one up, but I've just used this 5th one here in terms of the deciding exactly where things need to go. So I'll just drill those holes. Okay, so I've just had a change of plan because of this batten. So I was going to screw them in here in these holes, but I then just realised I can't do that, because otherwise this red and black wire will be going straight through where this batten is that runs underneath here. So I'm going to have to bring this a little further forward, a little bit more in line where this point is. There's space there, and then there's enough space on this side, so that's where I'm going to go. So I'll remark that again now. So the new holes I've just marked with a cross, so I don't get confused when I look away and then take the drill back. Okay, so there you go. There are the 5 points in position, moving from 1 track into 2, and then from 2 into 4, and then the 6th come from the very top. Okay, so I've marked the track where I need to cut it, and now going to get the track cutters and cut it off at that point. Now, I'm never sure which way the best way to cut track is. Is it to cut it that way, or is it to cut it that way? I think first of all I probably need to cut the sleeper, so that's the first job I'm going to do. I've now placed the 2 insulated rail joiners on the inside, and I'm going to refit this spacer. Make sure I fit it the right way around. So come on, let's go back in. I also think these insulated rail joiners are quite fragile. Now I don't know if it's because I've cut the rail and it's created a, but I can't get it on there. So what I'm going to do is just take a file and just make sure I can smooth that off. Okay, I've really struggled. I'm finding it a bit really difficult. I feel as though I'm out of my depth trying to put this point plan together. My lack of experience is yeah, I feel quite demoralised. So I'm full of enthusiasm about what I want to do. I'm about building this model railway, but it's so difficult. I mean, I put tools down and I can't find where they are now. I don't know what I've done with them. 3 little files just to try and file the ends of these rails, and I can't find them. And that's another thing you find. You put things down because your mind's on other things, and then where did you put them? I think you have to be clearly organised about where you keep your tools, which tools you need for each particular job, and you put the other ones away where they normally go so you can go back to them if you need them. So I think I just need a break, and I'll come back maybe in the morning and have another go. Okay, so I've just brought you back in because I've managed to gather my composure a little bit and think that I can get this done. So this spacer is now in with insulated rail joiners here and here, and it's joined to this point here. So the next job I'm going to do is put the spacer in here. So I've cut it and I'm going to fit it. The rail joiners are already on, so I'm just going to fit that in now. I am really having a lot of problems with doing it. As you can see, I've not prepared it for the video to make it look slick. Quite the opposite, actually. And I think when I cut them, and maybe I'm cutting them the wrong way. I do have a Dremel, but it's a case of going to the garage and getting the Dremel out and bringing it back up into the loft whilst I've got some track cutters. I thought I would try and utilise those. They don't seem a great solution to me, tell me if I'm wrong, but for cutting track. Let's have a go again. Hoping my hand and arm is not getting in the way of you being able to see what I'm trying to do here. So there's the insulated one in, and there's the metal one in. I'm just going to gently push those together. Since I was last on film digging around for the files, I stuck my thumb into the end of a scalpel, and so when your day's not growing great, it seems to get worse. So let's try and get these in here. These are having to be lifted a long way. So I'm taking those tacks back out again to give me the room. Hopefully you're picking this up. Slide those into the metal rail joiners, which are very tight. Go on. That's one of the challenges of putting spacers in Cut 75 flexi track. It bends really easily, so when you're trying to do something like that, you think it's just going to bend in two. But those are in. I mean, there does feel a sharp gap there. I don't know whether that's normal or not. I'll try and pull the rail up a little bit. You see this point here. Should I worry about that? Tell me. You will know better than me. Doesn't feel smooth. It seems to catch a little bit because there's a gap. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th one. But this is the problem with the frog wire. So what I'm going to do is just create the spacer first. I'd already pre-cut this spacer for when I was looking at the plan before, and I think I can just utilise this, so I'm going to have a go putting this in, see if it works. So again, slightly tricky in getting it to fit into the insole rail joiner that we're in. We're in both. Push it up. Some more room to go. And that's position, because that's the middle for the. So I've just quickly wired the new frog and the red and black wires for the power. So I can now fit this into position, in for the join. Oh, right, so I wasn't in. This is so fiddly. So I wasn't in the insole frog last time. I am now. Let's go back in with these two. These are annoying, so annoying. Come on, in you go. They're in. Go on. I'm not pulling the green frog wire down hard because I think that might have been part of the problem before. But I'm just checking that we've got these in the optimum position. I'm just not happy about this one, this top one, because the gap seems to be just getting bigger. Yeah. So where the arm is going to come from the point motor, I can see that one isn't central. Now I drilled 8mm holes, and some people say drill 10mm, and maybe the reason for drilling 10mm is it gives you more play in terms of getting exactly the point where it needs to be. They're not easy to fit, are they? They're just not easy to fit at all, to get the holes in the right place and refix the point back over where you thought it was going to go. Putting in spacers. Something wrong with this one here. Just don't know what it is. Where's my pliers? There's no pliers. These are pliers. This rail. Don't know if it's come out. It can't have done. It's just the gap here. If I can zoom in, show you. This gap just feels too big, and if I put a drill there, there, maybe that needs to be bigger. I'm a couple of mil short with the length. I don't know. Be good to know what you think and what advice you would give me at this point in time before I turn over and put the point motors in. So there we go. That's me attempting to get the points down into position and get them all joined together in the right place. As I've said before, found it really tough, and it would be really good to get your input into where I've gone wrong and how I can put it right. So I'll stop at this point in time, come back again tomorrow, and be interesting to see what you think.